The journey of Molotov Man has been long and difficult. He has tasted defeat, victory, and now longs for peace. He has gained many friends and allies along his long journey. He has grown in both knowledge and strength, but like the life of any mortal, he has grown old.
So did you win the tournament this time?
Yeah, I did.
What happened to Bow Lady?
Don't say her name like that. It's Joanna. She hates being called that.
Someone is talking about me. I can feel it.
Also, I actually invited her out for dinner after the match. Turns out she really loves grilled tiger fish.
You're weird, bro. Why are you inviting her for dinner?
You will understand when you are older, Justin.
There is a new tournament. There is a general named Artie and she needs a position filled in her squad. I want to join and prove I can do better than I did in the last tournament.
I have something to give to you, brother. It's important. Take this. It was mine, but now I pass it down to you.
I don't know what to say, bro.
When words fail, let your actions speak. My Molotov bottle is in your hands now. I am older now and I am not as young as I used to be. Remember, little brother, that a candle loses nothing by lighting another. My flame is yours. Get in that tournament and kick enough ass for both of us. I have not forgotten you wanted me to prove I was stronger than you to let me pass in the previous tournament.
I'm going to kick enough ass for all three of us, and I will surpass you, brother.
3? Who else is there?
You forgot Bow Lady.
I can hear you from the desert. I will not tolerate this degenerate slander of my name. It is Joanna, not Bow Lady.
Ravenous monsters tearing apart the palisade. Molotov Man attempting to fight back, but gets taken down by the hydrophobic force. Suicide bomb explosion. She slaps another charge attack at the camera to assert dominance. 36,000 points out of 5,000. Molotov Man holding strong against the Air Force by himself, taking them out in one decisive blow. Is she going to take out the Air Forces with range attacks? Oh no, the Summit Turtles! They're moving in, but they're being hit by the Hydro Slime. Molotov Man carrying the battle on his shoulders, taking out a unit every single time, single-handedly defeating the Wall Destroyer. The Wall Destroyer punching Molotov Man in the face, but he's eating it like a champion. The combination of Molotov Mans and Hydro is too strong for the enemy's ground forces, but the Hydro Board simply suicide bombs into Molotov Man, but the Molotov Man takes him out. There goes the explosion. General Artie doing her signature melee attack against the screen, perhaps in an attempt to tell Troy to shut up and stop doing his turn commentary, but I will not. Let us see what General Artery will come up with in a defensive lineup. What strategic genius shall she come up with? What offensive lineup of men shall she take? Or creatures? Or women? General Artery checking out the records. Nothing to see here, as there have been no battles in the confrontation scenario. General Artery reading about the Frost-Armed Laratron, Cryo-Whopper Flower, and the strange Hydro Slime thingy. General Artery attempts to start a matchmaking without a defensive lineup. A bold decision, but you cannot challenge an opponent with an empty defensive simulation.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Shadow. General Artery
trying to
places
mod
her
the
most
companion.
valuable palisade up front and doesn't opt to place it in the middle. An ambitious placement. Perhaps her defenses will be surrounded in this area. She opts to place an anti-air installation. 2 anti-air installations. The large, gigantic house is worth a very large amount of points to players. So, it is one of the most important things that you should defend at all costs. General Artery opts to swap placement of the house and the large house. General Artery decides to move the placement of the landmines. She places 2 Frost-Armed Lara turtles.
Guys, I think I made a mistake. I think I may have deleted the file that runs the game.
I don't know how you do it.
What, me?
Yes, you.
Well, I was trying to mod the game, and I deleted some files to try and be able to mod.
She opts for a double placement of each unit, mirroring them left and right, noting that each enemy may assault her fortress from any direction. General Artie places all 8 game pieces and reaches the maximum deployment of units. However, she still may have placed more mechanisms, offensive or defensive. Greetings, Sandeep. I'm simply giving tournament level commentary over General Artie. General Artie saves her defensive lineup. She confirms it with somewhat shaky certainty. General Artie cues into her first match and goes up against a Russian. We have our first tournament match of the day, ladies and gentlemen. General Artie against a random Russian player. Operation Downpour Simulation. Let us see what tactical prowess that Artie has to examine the opponent's defenses. 5 seconds to examine the defenses and come up with a plan of attack. How shall she assault the enemy? She opts to select the flying cryo crew. Oh, no, she selects the hilly churls to break down the barriers. She selects something else to punch down the barriers. Molotov Man simply shoveling out damage towards the enemy. But the giant lava man doesn't seem to care. She deploys an Air Force unit, and the Air Force is shot down. General Artie deploys the hilly churls to go in and destroy as much of the enemy's housing as possible. The enemy Russian player seems to make 0 progress. General Artie's defenses holding up impressively against the opponent. She deploys another Air Force unit. She deploys the Hydro Mimic Boar, but she has 5 out of 5 game pieces. 2 game pieces have died. It frees up population. And General Artie is at 65%. The opponent is gaining traction. They are at 15% population. But we are losing steam. The final member of the Air Force gets shot down. 1 man left, and that is it for General Artie's offense. We await for the opponent to be victorious or fail. As soon as the timer runs out in about 30 seconds, we'll have a confirmed victory. General Artie with a 50% lead. Can the opponent catch up? The opponent destroys General Artie's palisade. They've reached the core of her defenses. Will the timer run out before the other player can reach 70%? Will General Artie win her first match? We are on the edge of our seats. The enemy's running out of steam, running out of gas. Who knows? Will we be victorious or will we not? Any moment now, the General Artie is victorious! The enemy has run out of steam! Barely inching out of victory. Will she adjust her defenses, or will she believe in her original plan? Find out next time at the next episode. Our first victory out of 5 stars. Will General Artie reach 5 stars before the stream ends? Or will she complete her entire reward collection and give up after that point, since the stars do not have an actual reward? General Artie decides to slap a decisive charged attack with Mualani towards the camera in order to assert dominance. Will she re-examine her defensive scenario, or will she attempt to make adjustments? She collects the rewards to ponder in the meantime. She clicks on something else that I don't know what it is. She starts a defensive simulation, perhaps to study her opponent, in an attempt to reach 5 victories in a row with no defeats. How much time left for this event? Like 3 days, man. You better get a move on. The trap seems to be effective in slowing down the Ruin Guards, but there are no ranged attackers to take advantage of this. The Larachurl Chieftain simply tanking damage while the Cryo Whopper Flowers. Oh! There goes the explosive Hydro Mimic. The Barrier Destroyer, doing what it does best and destroying barriers. The Larachurls eating damage like champions. One-shots the Barrier Destroyer. Ooh, down goes the Air Force. The Hilichurls seem to be having a field day, destroying the... well, not much seems to be going on. Will those stupid Hilichurls keep destroying barriers and run into the landmines? Oh, he almost activates it. With his bloodlust for destroying barriers, will he run straight into it, or will he assist his partner? Boom goes the dynamite! And now the enemy's left with one Hilichurl. Can the one-man Hilichurl destroy the palisade in time? Yes, they did, according to the fact that they reached 60% completion. Boom! 55%! And now, the Hilichurl destroying even more barriers. Can this man's rage for destruction, can his appetite for destruction be quenched? No, with only 5 seconds left, this sad Hilichurl is unable to deal the damage. The mecha laughing as the flames and explosives are unable to pierce his thick, armored hide.
Guys, I think I deleted System 32.
You are destroying your PC, and I feel really, really sad and angry for the dude that you're going to ask to fix that for you. Because I'm not.
I can fix it myself.
So, what happens to the defenses of Artie, General Artie? Will she use a balance of traps, or will she go for all lethal traps? Will she use traps that slow enemies down in order to gain a tactical advantage? Will she mix up her units? Will she use the Hydro Slime? Will she opt not to use the Hydro Slime? Will she change the positioning of her forces? Ranged units protecting... Oh, we got movement, we got movement. We have a swap. General Artie opting to put a Cryo Whopper Flower in to use ranged attacks and abuse the trap that will slow an opponent down and allow us to repeatedly hit them until they die. Highly effective defenses against Ruin Guards and attacking Larachurl Chieftains. Daydreamer's gonna nap. Have a good nap, Daydreamer. I hope that you enjoy the tournament level commentary that I have over Artie's gameplay. It enhances the experience with my charismatic abilities. General Artie opting to change nothing as she has seen no movement of Molotov Mans or has not seen them test their combative prowess. Will General Artie adjust the positioning of the Molotov Man? Or will she leave them as they are? Defense of the major palisade in the center is the most pivotal point of this scenario. General Artie opting to reinforce the western defenses. Nope, she goes back on that. General Artie pondering. Perhaps she may attempt to try and use a hydro slime unit, or not. Who knows? She may opt to use any combination of units. Anything is possible. What's going on inside the great mind of our general? Our General Artery. General Artery opts to swap the position of the Cryo Flower and Molotov Man. General Artie decides to reinforce the eastern defenses and attempt to defend the landmines. However, there are no units within range of the slowdown trap. General Artie opts to move units within range of the slowdown trap. General Artie pondering the position of Molotov Man, the most effective tactic available. General Artery considering what happened inside the swamps, thinking about her many battles against the Saurians. A great tactician takes time to think, carefully analyzing their... Oh! We got movement! General Artery decides to go for a balanced lineup of one unit of each type. She does not double up or stack or miss units. She uses a small balanced force of each kind. Good evening, Angelia. Hello, Angelia. General Artery, having 5 seconds to examine the opponent's defenses. She opts to create a strategy. She's targeting the palisade in the center. She thinks about what to do. She's got 2 minutes on the clock. She opts to use the flight crew in order to take out some of the enemy defenses. She spots the enemy ranged anti-air in the center of the map. What shall she do? Is she going to burst open the northern defenses and send in the Hydro Mimic Boar? No, she starts from the east. The Hydro Mimic Boar is taken out by landmine. 1 minute, 30 seconds on the clock. General Artie's mind is racing. She inspects the double anti-air. The double anti-air is seeming to take out the Air Force. General Artie deep in thought. 1 minute, 20 seconds on the clock. She's thinking. She thinks about the barrier destroyers. She opts away from it. Examining the strategy of sacrificing a unit, or not, she sends in the Ruin Guard to take on the Laurel Chieftain. She opts to send in an additional Samatro group. The Ruin Guard is frozen and destroyed by the Laurel Chieftain. The Laurel Chieftain also decisively one-shots another unit. And the Hilly Churl brothers are taking damage from the... And that seems like it's just about over, folks. But it looks like it's a tie unless the opponent can reach farther into General Artie's defenses. Is this a stalemate at 10%? Are we at our first tie? The enemy manages to reach 15%, and that marks the defeat of General Artie for the first time. But General Artie does not give up, because General Artery has it in her blood.
General Artery?
Yes. General Artery closely examining the usage of her forces, perhaps managing to re-examine her front line and usage of the units. A redistribution of troop selection may be in order. General Artery knows what to do. General Artery is wise, powerful, and strong. She has led us to victory once. She shall lead us to victory once again. Or at least until she maxes out her rewards. One of the two. General Artery, noting that the enemy's defenses, that her defenses seem to hold up, that the enemy barely gone. Oh. General Artery, examining the attack of the opponent. The opponent starts by using hilly churls to destroy the outer defenses that are undefended with ranged attacks. Molotov Man taking on one of the twins. The twins, too distracted by a... Oh, what's this? Oh, the other twin taken out by a landmine. Molotov Man taking out 2 groups of hilly churls. 3 groups of hilly churls. Can this beast of a man be stopped? 3 taken out by 1. It seems the Lara Churl chieftains are having an extreme amount of trouble defending themselves against the hydromimic boars. The Lara Churl chieftains take out the extra unit that was deployed to assist in the fight. The Lara Churl chieftains slowly losing the battle against the hydromimic boars, but milking out valuable portions of time on the clock. They managed to somehow destroy one of the hydromimic boars? Amazing! It was the Euorpe Servers providing support. The enemy sends in a Ruin Guard. The Ruin Guard attempts to walk down the opponents. Palisade is being destroyed. They're deploying aerial units to defend. The Ruin Guard slapping and punching, but doing barely more damage than a wet pool noodle. And the anti-air fires its shot and takes out the opposition in the air. But what's this? The Ruin Guard is blocking the attacks. They managed to reach 75%. General Artery, examining the portions of her defenses, grumbling. What shall she do to adjust her defenses? Will there be an adjustment, or will General Artery trust in her previous placement of units? General Artery, opting to change the placement of units, noting that any number of one specific unit may be placed indefinitely. General Artery opting to deploy the most powerful unit in the game, Molotov Man, in great numbers.
Okay, I'm gonna try having both files and see what happens.
General Artery attempting to place more landmines. Still opting for a balance of stun traps and lethal traps. 2 and 2. No movement on the Lara Churl chieftains, but replacing the Euorpe flowers. I wonder what implications that may have. Observing carefully the differences between the Euorpe flower and Molotov Man, accentuating the clear superiority of the Molotov Man. Examining the large hydro slimes, being absolutely immune to the hydromimics, self-explosion, and may entirely lock up and milk out the clock when it comes to using sacrificial units. Still no movement on the large hole chieftains, opting for a good defensive melee core and range units on the outside. What's this? We have a change of units. We have opted to get rid of one aerial defense unit and now use a hydro ranged unit to provide coverage for the large hole chieftains. General Artie opting to place landmines to protect the anti-air units. A highly intelligent move. Perhaps. How will it work out for... Oh, hello, Genesis. How you doing? Thank you for this subscription, Genesis. OP. I'm just having fun voicing over Artie's gameplay. I've enlarged the mini screen. Oh, nope. It's gone black screen. There we go. General Artie opting to move the large hole chieftains. She's seemingly unhappy with the placement, but unsure of what attempt or approach to take. She moves the hydro slime, perhaps in an attempt to cover more units and area. General Artery moves the hydro slime backwards, thinking deeply about it. She decides to trust in her double large hurl chieftain placement, opting to stall the enemy instead of entirely using ranged attacks to fight back. Using double Molotov Man cores to cover the stun traps, and explosive traps to cover the rear. And we launch into our next game. You know, if somebody was completely blind and listening to my live stream, they'd be quite happy that they get such a descriptive idea of what's going on. 5 seconds for General Artery to examine the defense of the opponent. What shall she opt for? She sees plenty of empty space. She knows that there may be at least 4 traps sitting amongst the enemy's defenses. She knows that traps cannot be placed on the same square as the opponent's. What shall she opt to do? 1 minute, 45 seconds left on the clock. Valuable time ticking away as she uses her brain to think about what must go on. But victory is the only thing that must be done. General Artie opting to place the lightly armored hilly churls. She decides against it. 1 minute, 30 seconds on the clock. General Artie quickly puts down barrier breakers to absorb damage, and then plays a flying force in order to distract the enemies and take them down. General Artie notices that there's no aerial defenses at the rear, opting to attempt to gain entry forcefully. Air units taking down the enemies. She lets loose the Hydro Mimic Board. And it's not looking good for the opponent's defenses. It looks like there's going to be a decisive victory on the side of General Artie. The anti-air, unable to fight back against the large horde of hilly-churls, the ravenous monsters, tearing apart the palisade. Molotov Man attempting to fight back, but gets taken down by the Hydro-Mimic Board's suicide bomb explosion. The anti-air forces attempting to fight back, but they are helpless against the ravenous horde of spellcasting summer girls. The Cryo Whopper Flower. He goes down. One surviving Samachurl. 6 seconds left on the clock. 1 versus 1. The Samachurl goes down, but it is victory decisively for General Art. What a hell of a 1 minute 30 seconds that was, ladies and gentlemen. General Artie gaining back one of her lost stars. The question is, will she continue and attempt to get 5 stars, or will she cash out her rewards and go to sleep at a reasonable time tonight? Who knows? But when she sleeps, the stream ends. She slaps another charge attack at the camera to assert dominance. 36,000 points out of 5,000. Does General Artie dare to change her defensive lineup? She goes to watch valuable information from the opponent's battle. Molotov Man holding strong against the Air Force by himself, taking them out in one decisive blow. And giving a heavy blow to another Air Force unit. The anti-air shoots down the flying cryo thing. Quite strange move from the opponent. The opponent opting to go for a slow movement of heli-churls to take down the defenses, tear apart the walls, and perhaps gain access to destroying the enemy air units. General Artie closely studying this pre-recorded battle. The anti-air unit taking out yet again another air unit. Samachurls taking out the Laurel Chieftain, getting ranged down, eating damage like a damaged dummy. The Laurel Chieftain was useless, unable to do a thing, but Molotov Man carrying the battle on his shoulders, taking out a unit every single time, single-handedly defeating the Wall Destroyer. The Wall Destroyer punching Molotov Man in the face, but he's eating it like a champion. And a victory! The opponent taps out. The enemy general couldn't take the amount of damage that was being dished out. General Artie's defenses holding up like an iron fortress, but unlike the Laurel Chieftains, which seemed fairly useless in that fight, the only thing they held off the enemies with was their chin. General Artie looking to replace the Laurel Chieftain and exchange movement of units, opting for a heavy defense of Hydro and Pyro ranged attacks. Very heavily armed Molotov men. General Artie studying her defenses. Seemingly happy with the double Hydro slime, keeping one Laurel Chieftain in order to take out pesky Heli-Churl fighters. General Artie closely examining her defenses, analyzing, watching, observing. General Artie decides to replace even the Laurel Chieftain with yet again another Molotov Man. Molotov Mans are starting to look like the Terminators, being replicated left, right, front, and center. General Artie completely fired the Laurel Chieftain from her army. The Laurel Chieftain crying to human resources about his unfair treatment on the job, wanting to send General Artie an angry resignation letter at his forcible firing. The 5 Molotov Mans laughing at his inferiority and lack of ranged attacks. General Artie makes no changes to her offensive lineup, and she has to fight Yae Miko. Yae Miko versus General Artery. Five seconds to examine the opponent's defenses. Come up with an offensive plan. 2 minutes on the clock. General Artie versus Yae Miko. Who will win? Who will destroy? And who will toy? General Artie spotting a weakness in the defenses of the south side. The fact that there's no one to defend these anti-air units against melee fighters, besides a single Hydro Boar. A Hydro Slime, I mean. What shall General Artie use to target these enemies? Is she going to take out the air forces with range attacks? Oh no, the Samachurls! They're moving in, but they're being hit by the Hydro Slime. One of them's been trapped. General Artie spawns in a barrier breaker in an attempt to slow the enemies down. The barrier breakers slam dunking on the Hydro Slime. The anti-air completely useless. The enemy's defenses cracked wide open, completely ignored. General Artie sneers and laughs at the sheer tomfoolery that Yaimiko had to challenge her incredible prowess as a general. Oh, the game freezes, having technical issues. 5 seconds pass by with nothing occurring. The enemy's palisades being heavily torn apart by the barrier breakers. Molotov Man taking out one of the twins with a Molotov to the face. Molotov Man holds strong. But the enemy defenses have crumbled. 75% of their forces have been destroyed. Molotov Man getting jumped by an entire squad of enemies, but he puts their HP low. Can the Cryo Flower make the comeback? Oh, the Cryo Flower takes out 3 of the brothers, 4 of the brothers. One singular man left. Can he do the job? Can he reach 100%? It's down to 85. But reinforcements have been summoned. Oh my god. And here we go. 90%. Can we get 100? 95. And utter destruction is coming for the opponent. They're saved by the clock. Doom was coming for that Cryo Flower, and nothing could have saved them. Void putting up a pathetic 20%. Why is Artie's opponent so weak? What are you talking about? General Artie is a general for a reason. Her tactical analytics of the situation and specific application of units and studying of previous battles and learning from mistakes is the reason why she is a general. You never question Katsuro. Never. General Artie with 2 stars. What shall General Artie do next? Depending on what she does, is when the stream ends. When she sleeps, it's over. General Artie, showing us a defensive simulation of her tactical prowess, the expert and elite placement of units. The enemy starts with a Samacharo. Oh, sorry, technical difficulties. The combination of Molotov Mans and Hydro is too strong for the enemy's ground forces. But the Hydro Boar simply suicide bombs into Molotov Man, but the Molotov Man takes him out. There goes the explosion. The Ruin Guard headed straight for the Molotov Man. The Molotov Man hits him in the face and takes a small amount of HP. The Hydro Slimes pelting the enemy barrier destroyers with Hydro damage. Not much left in the gas of the enemy forces. The Hydro Slime holding strong against 2 enemy units, highly resistant to their physical damage. The Hydro Slimes taking out enemy ground forces. They're taking heavy losses. The battle is over. My hour thought out defense grid gets 100%ed in like 1 minute. I'm thinking it's something like an exploit. Nah, Katsuro, you literally can watch the deployment of units. So you'll be able to see your defensive structure placement. General Artie opting to change placement of units. Noting the effectiveness of... Oh, she still opts to use 2 and 2. She doesn't go for all lethal traps, fearing that the lethal traps may destroy her own units. Oh, never mind. She can't place anymore. She can only place 2 and 2. Sorry, everybody. General Artie seemingly very happy with her defensive unit placement, only swapping the positioning of the traps with a surprise trap in the very center of the map. Perhaps it is an attempt to defend the Molotov Man and give him more effective defense against barrier-breaking units. Molotov Man, clearly the finest specimen of the army, has completely erased and eradicated the other defensive units. This just in, we've received a message. It's from the Cryo Larachorl Chieftain. He's talking about how General Artie treated him poorly inside of his army and fired him without just cause, and both of them. General Artie summarily ignores the Larachorl Chieftain's request to be put back into the army, noting his inferiority to Molotov Man and how he did basically nothing except for stand around and take hits on his chin. General Artie versus Serfio. By the way, Katsuro, you can actually do the replay. You can see what they did to beat your defenses. General Artie faced with another challenge. 5 seconds to think out what to do. Noticing a hanging Larachurl chieftain on the outside. However, anti-air defenses on the inside make it difficult to use air units effectively. What shall she do to take out the Larachurl chieftains? Deploying Samachurls using range attacks in order to take them out. Deploying the Hydromimic Boar in order to absorb damage and prevent the abilities of the Larachurl chieftain. Doing direct damage, she deploys the barrier killers. The Samachurls start taking out another area. General Artie deploys the barrier breaker. The barrier breaker rushes in for the vulnerable position of the enemy troops, and down goes the anti-air units. Molotov Man attempting to defend, but he is overrun by too many units. The Samachurls attempting to take down the housing. The Molotov Man targeting the wrong unit, and he's getting taken down by the Samachurls. And what is this Ruin Guard doing? General Artie deploys air units on the left side, and they get immediately shot down. General Artie still has Hilichurl fighters and air units left over. What shall she do? Hilichurl fighters are weak to the Cryo Flower, but strong against the anti-air units, and weak to the Hilichurl chieftain. 70% of the way down, the enemy has only done 30%. The Hilichurls taking down the anti-air, making it safe for deployment. The Larachurl chieftain one-shots the entire squad of Hilichurls. The barrier destroyer seemingly being useful for once in his life and doing something other than destroying random barricades. What is it with this man's vengefulness for barriers? This ends in a decisive victory for General Artie. 3 victories, 3 stars. Can General Artie reach 5 before she decides to go to sleep for the night? 1,900 points scored towards the total, which doesn't matter anymore because she's reached maximum score. General Artie decides to use a charge attack to slap a giant ball towards the screen, perhaps in an attempt to tell General Troy to silence himself, that he talks too much. But I can't shut up. With tournament commentary like this, it's on fire. Everyone is on the edge of their seat. Lindsay is enjoying this. Daydreamer's enjoying this. Katsuro's enjoying this. And so is Genesis OP. Following. John Impact versus General Artie. Locked in a deathmatch. Army versus army. Brain versus brain. Tactics versus tactics. General Artie will have 5 seconds to examine what she shall go on. Is it a race against the clock? Will they tie? Will General Artie be able to destroy more of the opponent's forces? General Artie closely examining the defenses, looking for holes, looking for areas to deploy her barrier breakers, areas where possible traps may exist, noticing that this default layout is shockingly similar to our own, denoting the possibility and placement of traps. Where shall she deploy her barrier breakers? Shall she deploy them left, right, front, or center? Southwest corner looks weak to General Troy. Potentially vulnerable. 1 minute 30 seconds on the clock. John Impact already dealing damage. General Artie opting to deploy something that is immune to cryo damage. But what's this? For some reason, it managed to kill the Hydro Boar. This is a shocking revelation. What shall she do? 1 minute 17 seconds left on the clock. Not much time left. 8 units to be deployed, but only room for 5 on the battlefield. General Artie deploys her units. Barrier breakers set in to move. The combination of Hydro and Cryo seemed to be too much for the Ruin Guard, but the Ruin Guard tanks the damage and allows the other units to destroy them. The barrier breaker being deployed. The Air Force being deployed. 50 seconds left on the clock. Can General Artie... Oh, John Impact has left the world. The enemy general has tapped out like a wussy. Will this lead to the decisive victory of General Artie? General Artie, keeping an eye on the number of game pieces left, carefully holding her Hilichurl fighters for the proper moment. Will she deploy them? She deploys them immediately. The Hilichurl fighters move in to take down the palisade. And that looks like a decisive victory for General Artie. The Hilichurl fighters trying to get past the barrier, but they're too stupid to notice that it's open beside them. Molotov Man munching on the pawns like a champion. Molotov Man doing everything within his power, but he's the only one that's alone. His ugly cousin on the left-hand side of the screen is too far away to assist. And that is a victory for General Artie. 4 victories in a row! Will General Artie reach 5 stars and become a 5-star general? The next battle will decide. General Artie doing her signature melee attack against the screen, perhaps in an attempt to tell Troy to shut up and stop doing his turn commentary, but I will not because it's good for my YouTube channel. General Artie fighting against a child leader with a name that is indecipherable. Who is this strange player? Will they be a decisive win or defeat against General Artie? This is the final battle to reach a 5-star general. This one will not stand in Artie's way. General Artie notices the strange placement of units. Perhaps this denotes that there are a large number of traps placed. How will General Artie fish out the number of traps that are placed? General Artie opts to place the Ruin Guard, and then places the Hilichurls.
Hey guys,
Yeah, what's up?
could I please have your attention for a minute?
No, we're in the middle of a tournament match.
What?
General Artie opts to place the Hydromimic Boar. He sends it in. It gets frozen by the Cryo Whopper Flower. It explodes, deals area of effect damage to the barriers. She sends in the Samachurl Chieftains. She attempts to rush them down with a large number of units.
After this round, can I please show you guys something?
Oh, we're in the middle of a tournament. Perhaps after this battle.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking, like, when this battle is done. I think she's gonna run out of time.
This looks like a decisive defeat for General Artie. She may lose a star for this, but who knows? One defeat can't keep her down. And that takes away 1 star, but that is not... We may have lost the battle, but not the war. We are still a 3-star general. Okay, what you want to show us?